Kasra Dash, who is the founder of the Masterminders. He's launched an SEO app called My SEO. SEO entrepreneur, SEO par excellence. Kasra, thank you for joining me. Let's dive right into the hottest topic right now. What are the top ranking factors?
First of all, thanks for having me. I prefer doing podcasts as opposed to actually doing the videos because I can just roll up. You ask me the questions and we're ready to go. I'll start off with one thing that isn't a ranking factor, and I worry for a lot of link building agencies that are still stuck in their ways. I feel like you've pivoted quite well with your team and stuff, but that is PageRank. I feel like PageRank is almost obsolete. I remember the days, you'll probably remember this yourself, Jabez, where if you got like a high DR backlink, it would shift you from position maybe 25 to position 4. It's been a very long time since I've seen something like that. And even more so now with the LLMs like ChatGPT, Claude, etc. They almost don't have a way of checking to see if it's a qualitative, high powerful link. I mean, there's obviously certain things that they can do, right? Like if you've got one BBC link in comparison to a domain that's been registered 2 days ago, I'm sure there'll be something in place for that. But for the majority, I've not seen any PageRank influence in any LLMs.
Let's say you are working on a new client and pretty new brand, and they are up against established and mid-sized players as well. How would you go about planning their traffic strategy so that they start building traffic not just across Google safely, but also increasing visibility across LLMs?
Yeah, let's do it. So let's say it is a brand new law firm, Jabez's law firm, let's call it that. I would be looking to see the competitors' websites, where they're getting mentions from. So a lot of the times, the fundamentals might just be getting listed on some basic directory websites, maybe Justia if you're in America and you're in law. I believe there's law.net or the law.org, I believe it is, where it's like a big, massive law firm directory website.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when you're starting from scratch, it's the basic stuff that's actually working. A few other things as well. If you're starting from scratch, just making certain that you've got social media channels set up like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and you've got like a proper optimized bio on each of the actual channels as well. A few people that I've recently audited their websites, they've had their social channels and it's just the name of the company, no bio, no opening times, nothing like that. So stuff like that, Google does feed into the actual LLM, so it helps understand what your company's about. And you'll know this yourself, Facebook ranks and indexes very well nowadays as well. So again, very basic tip, but if you're not doing it, takes 20 minutes to set up, you may as well do it.
Let's say there's a company in the mid-range. They are ranking decently on Google already, and they come to you and say, Kasra, help us increase our visibility across ChatGPT, specifically ChatGPT. What would you first do on their own website, making sure these things are implemented first, and then different kind of content types that you would focus on publishing for them?
This slightly differs from style of website. So I'll start off with an e-commerce example, then we'll do local. If you are doing this for an e-com style website, the biggest lever that you can actually pull when it comes to e-com currently is how descriptive your product descriptions are. This again might sound like 2022 SEO, but if, say for example, somebody is searching for an office chair and they're overweight, you might sell chairs for overweight people, but you don't actually have that descriptively in your product description, you're going to be missing out on a lot of traffic. Because if you think of it, right, somebody might search on ChatGPT, hey, I am 375 kilograms, I have lower back pains, I'm overweight, and I need an office chair. I work, 12 hours a day in my office chair, right? For any LLM, it doesn't matter if it's Claude, whatever, majority of the times people would be searching something like that on ChatGPT, I feel. But if your product page isn't descriptive enough, ChatGPT might not know that you sell chairs for overweight people. That's one of the biggest things that you can do in the e-com space. In the local SEO space, one thing that you can do in ChatGPT is setting up Bing places. I think it's like literally a one-click import as well. It's nothing crazy. If you've already got like a GMB set up, you might even have 25, 30 reviews. I believe you can even import the reviews from Google Map Packs to Bing places as well. So having that set up. Another thing as well is look to see what directory directories rank well in Bing and getting listed on those. I believe in the UK, Yellow Pages, Yelp, and there's one other that I don't remember the name of. There's 3 really good directories in the UK that rank very well in Bing. And if you can get listed on those, again, going back to what I was saying before, the foundations, right? Getting that set up. So in some cases, just look to see what directory sites are being mentioned on Bing. Another quick win as well on local SEO is if you have, let's say, 25 different services, making certain you've got all of your service pages as actual dedicated pages. Again, that's pretty basic, but some people just don't do it for whatever reason. And yeah, that kind of goes hand in hand with the ecom example as well, like just having products with proper descriptions.
Yeah, we've checked many results so far where ChatGPT actually goes and checks whether you have that service and dedicated page or not. That definitely helps. For e-com, let's say it's the same product, but it's catering to a different audience. Would you suggest creating different pages? Let's say same chair, but one is for gamers, the other ergonomic chair, same, but trying to focus people above a certain weight category. Would you suggest creating separate pages to target different categories, even if the product is same?
So one thing that you can do when it comes to e-commerce products is you can set up different specification tables for each. It might not necessarily be 2 different products. It could be the one product page, but it has like the different specifications. So let's say if you've got a black, a blue, and a gray chair, and that's for normal weighted people, and then you've got a black, blue, and grey chair for overweight people, the specifications table would just change.
Okay.
There are obviously different things that you can set up, like variances. I believe that's what it's called on Shopify. I don't remember what it's called on WooCommerce because we just don't do much work on WooCommerce, but there's certain variances that you can basically set up.
Have you seen any correlation with being on Bing Marketplace or Google Marketplace or Google Shopping that has positive negative impact on ChatGPT results?
I don't have the data for this, but now that you've mentioned it, I should probably start doing some testing. I've been told that if you are on Google Shopping, you do get a boost in Google AI overviews, but don't quote me on that because I don't have the actual data.
Any other tests have you done in the local niche for LLM
Local
visibility?
niche, yes. So reviews does wonders. You can get so far with Listicles, but once you are in like a super difficult industry, Google and basically all the LLMs start to look at other variances, like who has Jabez done link building for? Who are your previous clients? Have you got any case studies? What are other people saying about Jabez as the link building guy? Is it good things? Is it bad things? Is it neutral? And that's when it basically doesn't just look at listicles, it looks at other variances. So for example, case studies. If you have worked with brands like Adidas, Nike, and Apple, let's say, and I have only worked with, I don't know, 1 or 2 little local businesses, Google's probably going to trust your business a little bit more.
That makes sense. There's been a lot of debate about whether it's important to be in the training data or in the live retrieval sources. What's your take on that?
Try to be in all of them. From my memory, ChatGPT has 3 different bots. They've got the live check where it just checks the SERP. That's almost like checking the consensus. It actually opens up a specific page. So for example, if I was to ask, how old is Jabez, right? It might not have that in the training data. So it will actually go to your website, try and find your about page and say, okay, Jabez is 45, 102. So that's the second type of bot. And then the third type of bot is the historical like information that it stores. It's almost like the cache, if you will, right? So if you were to say who is the current president of America, it's probably going to come back with Trump. There is certain cutoff points for that as well. Now, to my knowledge, ChatGPT, actually all of the LLMs buy their data from
Common Crawl.
Is it Bright Data? Common Crawl. That's it. I believe they get data every single month from Common Crawl, but then they update it every 5 or 6 months, right? So you should trying to be getting your brand pushed into the historical data, but it's very unrealistic for you to think, okay, I'm going to put my company or information about me into the historical data in 24 hours because it's just not going to happen. The one caveat to all of this as well is that every LLM that you use has a black box. For example, if you go and ask your ChatGPT or your Claude something, Claude will know, okay, I'm speaking to Jabez. Or if I go and speak to my ChatGPT or Claude, it will know that it's speaking to me. That kind of puts like a spanner in the works where you could ask it something about you and it will know Jabez's WhatsApp is this. You're like, oh wow, okay, I'm in the training data, but you're not. You're actually in the black box. You almost need to use like an incognito account.
You can update it in the settings also that don't personalize any of the information.
I feel like they still do, but again, maybe that's just conspiracy theory, Kaz, but I'll take your word for it. So yeah, just make certain if you are asking it questions, you either do what Jabez said or do it in incognito.
Yeah, do both, I would say. Change the settings and be in incognito. When it comes to training data, when you're building consensus and you're publishing on multiple platforms, on third-party sites, on YouTube, Reddit, everywhere, and there is a heavy chance that even if all those efforts were used in the training data, you would probably not see them in the live retrieval sources. How do people gauge whether the efforts they've put into just spreading and building their topical authority, off-page topical authority, has been useful for influencing the training data?
First of all, people need to understand query fan out. If I was to do a search, something along the lines of, I'm a student, I have $1,000 and I want a laptop for video editing. People need to understand that query gets split up into multiple sections. So the first thing is, okay, best laptops for students. Then it is best laptops under $1,000. Then it is best laptops for video editors. Now, if the Jabez MacBook Pro 448 gets mentioned in all of those different queries, then there's a good chance at the end result that ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude spits out that laptop will be mentioned. So I think that's one good way of gauging it, because a lot of people are just doing, for example, Listicles, or they're just getting like reviews and stuff. So you also need to understand that part to it as well. So now that you've understood the query fan out side of stuff, it's almost like keyword tracking, where you would get all of the query fan outs for all of the queries that you want to try and rank for and start creating dedicated pages for those. Now, I would be careful in the sense that you can create cannibalization when doing that. Like, for example, if you're creating a page on the best ergonomic office chairs and the best grey ergonomic office chairs, for example, that probably all falls under the one page. So I wouldn't break it up into that amount of pages, because I have seen some of the AI tracking tools where they don't group together and consolidate some of the keywords. It just spits out the data. But you would have had that issue with Ahrefs, for example, as well. If you just follow Ahrefs blindly, you would create 600 pages all going after the exact same query. So yeah, that's how I would be gauging and checking to see how well I'm doing in AI overviews.
Have you seen any decline in listicle citations or the quality of listicle citations that are being sourced these days?
Yes and no. I'll give a few examples. Listicles, to my knowledge, even if they rank on like position like 32, you've still got a good chance of Google AI citing it. You can create a listicle and it might not even be in the top 10 blue links, the organic blue links, but you can still get cited by AI. Where I have seen a slight change is if you're doing a self-referencing article or a self-referencing listicle, for example, Claude doesn't like that. Claude much prefers if you're in like position 2 or position 3, I've noticed.
It's flagging. Claude has been the first to start flagging across the results where we see a pattern of SEO spam listicles.
Yeah, so if it's like Fable, like getting the ban hammer out and just banning the dodgy black hats. But that's one thing that I've noticed. Now, I also did a case study about 2 months ago now. I'm so bad with dates because the conference, like everything's like 6 months ago or 3 months ago. But I believe it was about 2 months ago where I tested out a load of different LLMs. Am I able to share my screen?
You should be. There's a share button.
Okay, let me get you this because I think you'll probably quite like this. Share. Right, there we go. Here it is. So I threw up 50 different articles and then deleted it because I just wanted to know the data behind it. Now, some of the pages that we actually ended up throwing up, some were like comparison pages. If you were to take a look at, let's say, Revolut, you've got, actually load up Revolut. So these are basically comparisons. So they're comparing one brand to another, the pros and cons, the fees involved, how to set up an account, etc., etc. So you've then got listicle pages, which everyone knows. a lot about. And then you've also got alternative pages as well. So for example, if I was to search, let's say, surfer SEO alternative, you will see a load of different websites trying to go after Surfer SEO alternatives. Now, the thought process is somebody's already been using Surfer SEO. They might have been pissed off, whatever, or maybe they don't like the price and they don't like the tool. They want to go and swap over to another tool or service. So that's basically like an alternative. So we uploaded all of those and we basically done it in batches as well. For example, with Grok, 8 out of 10 times, they actually ended up referencing us. Same with Perplexity, ChatGPT and Claude. Now, I reckon Claude now would be a little bit lower. I reckon it would probably be around the 4 out of 10 mark, and Google AI might be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
It might be around the 6 out of 10. I've noticed that things have slightly changed since this study. But the reason why Grok and Perplexity referenced us so well is because they do a lot of searches. It almost feels like Grok and Perplexity do not have the cache that we were talking about previously. And then we ended up deleting them. So this is the actual breakdown. So we've done it in batches of 10. First week, we got mentioned quite a lot. Second week, we got mentioned even more. And then third week, and Grok and Perplexity, after we deleted in 4/10 the pages, they almost instantly fell out of the actual LLMs. ChatGPT, Claude, and Google AI actually, again, probably thinking about the cache thing, and they still referenced us after we deleted the articles as well. That was my small test data. I'm sure I'll probably do another test like that in maybe a couple of weeks' time, because it's always just good to know that information.
Yeah, there's always cost for them to update the data, right? So we accidentally did a similar test because we had to fix some information for a client on the articles we had published for them. And even after we fixed the stats, it was still referencing the older stats after probably 2-3 weeks. I haven't checked it recently, but yeah, the data updation is an issue for a lot of LLMs. But do you mean to say that Grok and Perplexity, since they are not that heavy on keeping cache, does that mean that the more fresher articles come out, it will start outranking older piece of content?
That's the thought process that I had. If you look at any website's server log analysis, it's a very boring and ugly file. I don't recommend anyone doing it. But if you really wanted to get really savvy into this, you look at that. Grok and Perplexity are heavy when it comes to crawling web pages. Another one is obviously Common Crawl, but outside of Common Crawl, Perplexity and Grok, like, they just analyze everything. Maybe from a costing point of view, it's easier to scrape than it is to store. I don't fully know, but that's the thought process that I had when I got that information back.
And I saw in your test you published 3 kind of articles, right? Listicles, alternatives, and comparison. Is that the primary content type that you would focus on when starting out a fresh campaign?
This would be client dependent. I'm going to give you an answer of it depends. Nobody likes that answer, right? I've worked with newer businesses and they've got like 1 or 2 case studies, and we just want to amplify the case studies, for example. So that's a good strategy. Again, say for example, you're dealing with a SaaS company, then maybe it would be a better strategy to do the comparisons, the alternatives, the listicles and stuff like that. But again, very dependent on the type of business you're dealing with.
In a recent interview, I interviewed a guy very new in the scene, Raymond from Singapore, very sharp guy. He gave me some context on llms.txt when there was this whole hype about llms.txt and people found out that it's not a ranking factor as such. His take was, though, that yes, it's not a ranking factor, but once your brand is in the pool or bucket of shortlisted brands, and especially if you're in the SaaS or tech niche, then having llms.txt file will probably improve your agentic discovery. Do you have any take or answers on that?
I don't know why there was so much of a debate around llms.txt, because I don't fully get it. It takes 5 minutes to set up. I feel like everyone now uses Claude or some form of AI to create the websites. It's literally one prompt. I genuinely think people spent more time arguing about it than just creating a prompt like, hey, I'm creating a website to do with link building, just give me an llms.txt. That's my thought process. I've seen everyone saying that it's not a factor, blah, 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 blah. I would rather have it there in case they do start picking it up. Then let's say, for example, you've got a load of pages that you don't want LLMs to read, right? Yeah. I can't think of an example, but I'm sure there are websites out there where people don't want LLMs to read certain pages. Why not just set it up and just forget about it?
Yeah.
I mean, you can rank a website without a robots.txt file, but again, to set up a robots.txt file is literally a tick off the sheet. So why not?
Do you think LLMs do check the content on your site for finalizing the answer? Even if you are in the listicles, but before they finalize their top 5, do they do one more check to verify if all the details are correct as per your site and then shortlist 5?
So let me give you an example. Let's say somebody searches for immigration lawyers and you are Jabez's law firm and you offer multiple different services. And they might know about your law firm in New York, let's say, and they're like, oh, Jabez, he's got 600 reviews, all 5 stars. Let's try and recommend them for immigration lawyers. They might actually check to see if your website actually has that mentioned as a service first, and then they will mention you in the AI answer. On the contrary, in some cases, they might check other sources as well. So they might look at what other sources and what other websites are actually saying about you. So, for example, if somebody is looking for an SEO agency that primarily deals with e-commerce stores, they might take a look to see, okay, Jabez does e-commerce SEO. What e-commerce brands has he helped rank? So it's kind of like one of those things. In some cases, they look at your website to see, okay, does he provide this service? In other cases, they might look at external sources, reviews, awards, testimonials, etc., on other external websites. It's kind of like a yin and a yang. Like you can't do just one, you almost need to do both.
In the agency niche, I've seen so many fan out queries regarding awards. Straight up, they ask and look for awards. Have you done any fake awards testings?
I feel like if I speak,
I'm just saying testings.
I don't know if you're a fan of football, but have you ever seen Jose Mourinho where he's doing the interview and he says, if I speak, I'm in trouble? I'll say that and I'll let the viewers come to the conclusion. So, yeah.
Okay. Few final questions. What are some black hat LLM manipulation tactics that you've come across? Not saying you've done it. I'm saying that you've noticed.
Reddit spam, fake awards. Not saying I've done it, but the parasite SEO still works in terms of feeding LLMs information. So, for example, you can get a very strong and powerful website, and in some cases, there's certain gigs that you can do where it sends it to 30 different websites, almost like a mini press release. And I've seen stuff like that work. Again, the more consensus that you have, the more trustworthy it is. So it's not necessarily about the strength of the domain. It's more about if there's 500 websites all saying Jabez is a bodybuilder that lives in Japan, over time, LLMs are going to think, okay, Jabez is a bodybuilder that lives in Japan. So there's certain things that you can also do. What else? I know that Jesper Neeson's been doing a lot on the social media channels like Facebook, Twitter. Again, all he does is consensus. So if he does a video on how to get backlinks for $1, he'll post that as a YouTube video, a Facebook post, a Twitter article, and he's got a few other places as well that he posts it on. So there's certain stuff like that. But again, I don't even know if that's black hat personally, because there's businesses that think that that's just social media marketing. So take that as you will. I wouldn't class it as black hat, but again, it depends what your tolerance is, I suppose.
When people are working on content and their goal is to influence LLM rankings, would you analyze top ranking pages cited in the LLM citations, or would you analyze the top ranking pages across Google and Bing?
So your question is, if my website's not being cited, would I analyze the 10 blue links or the websites in the Google AI overviews?
The focus is to publish content on third-party sites to build off-page topical authority, and then eventually get cited and recommended across LLMs. Now, for that purpose, when I'm planning the content strategy or kind of content I need to write, should we focus on analyzing Google SERPs or the citations that are being referenced in LLMs?
I'll break your question down into 2 answers. Answer number 1 is I would do both. Every few years, like SEO content writing has changed. I remember the days of when I first got into SEO and we used a South African agency and it was like $3 per article. And it was all to do with keyword density. And if you had the correct keyword density, you would rank. And then obviously after that, a few years later, it came down to how you structure your Q&As. And then you could obviously get into the Google FAQ schema and featured snippets and stuff. And now I feel it's more so to do with sales copy, which it's like almost selling your brand, your expertise, how many years of experience experience you've got. You've then got SEO writing, making certain that not keyword density, but you still want to mention the keyword that you're trying to rank for at least once on the page somewhere naturally, right? And then the last one is the actual structure of the content. Again, it really annoys me when people think that you can get bad AI content, because it is true, but you can also get very bad human written content as well, right? It's how you prompt it. It's garbage in, garbage out. So to answer your question, you almost need to do all three. If everything was equal, right, the reasons why some websites would rank above you in the AI overviews or get cited in AI overviews is because they've probably got better sales copy about the actual brand on the actual page. So why not just do all three? You've got good structured content where it's not fluffy. You've got sales copy where it's selling your business, your expertise as a whole, who you've worked with on the actual page, and then also the SEO side of it all. So that's step one. That's more so the content on your actual website. Now, I have also seen where in a lot of cases websites have everything that I've just mentioned, but they still don't get cited in the AI overviews. And that's probably to do with the off-page side of stuff, the side of stuff that we've just been talking about. So for example, are they getting directories? Have they got any listicles? Like listicles is really good because you are feeding LLMs directly and you're saying like, hey, Jabez is my competitor in the banking industry, or Wise is my other competitor, Revolut is my next competitor. So it's very good in terms of feeding LLMs information and also new information as well. Like let's say you set up a bank tomorrow, Jabez, right? If none of the LLMs understand who you are, you almost kind of need to force yourself into the actual market by doing the listicles, by doing the alternatives, by doing the comparisons. Because in that way, all of the LLMs will understand very quickly, okay, to set up a bank with Wise, let's say, it's £35 a month. With Jabez's bank, it's £2.50 a month. So you're directly adding more information and consensus into their actual LLM.
Yeah, that makes sense. My last question, do you have any sources that people can follow, whether it is newsletter, podcast, or any experts, to stay updated with latest LLM ranking factors? Who are your top favorites?
I don't think there's one perfect person. Everyone's has their pros and cons. Corey's on another level in terms of doing the actual content on your website, the sales copy, all that good stuff. He's definitely one to follow. Also, he's a lot more holistic. And I think guys like yourself, I'm seeing you doing more posts than I am on Facebook at the minute on LLM and retrieval and how to manipulate AI overviews. Who else? If you are going to a conference, I would check to see if James Dooley's there. He'll probably answer a few different questions to do with that type of stuff. I know he's more focusing on like the entrepreneurial side of stuff. He is an entrepreneur, but he doesn't like speaking a lot about SEO. He enjoys more of the entrepreneurial side of stuff. Who else?
Any underdogs or lesser known that you think is kind of underrated?
There's two people that are pretty new to the scene. One is Rollo. I believe it's Rollo Unden. And the other is Oliver Fish on Twitter. Both of them are pretty active on Twitter. They've been doing SEO for a long time, but new to building the actual personal brand side of stuff. Both very knowledgeable. I believe Oliver Fish actually lives in Chiang Mai.
Okay. I'll reach out.
So yeah, those would be my two go-to. As a bonus, I'll be doing daily videos again.
What's going to be your focus for the next month at least?
I've got a 6-month plan and it's going to be a very busy 6 months for me because I'm also moving house. The 6 months is just going to be all to do with AI, overviews, manipulation, testing data, and just scaling that side of stuff out. Because I don't know if you've seen this yourself, but there are more websites that rank well organically in Google that don't get cited in AI overviews than the contrary, than the opposite. So I feel like a lot of business owners are now panicking because they've just lost so many clicks and traffic through to their website that they're going to need to get help.
Yeah, makes sense. Kasra, thank you so much. It was a pleasure and a masterclass for me. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Man. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on.